it is so good to see you again. Before we get started with our next session and go over some stuff that we talked about last time, I want to make sure that I still clarify the role of a counselor and who I am, what I'm here for, and kind of the things we have to keep in mind when it comes to confidentiality, okay? So my name is Miss Sanderlin. I am the school counselor, and my role is just to create a safe space for you within these four walls of trust and a level of confidentiality. Would you mind telling me in your own words what confidentiality means to you?
To me, it means that no matter what I kind of say in here, like you can't go around and tell other people, you can't talk about it like with my parents or my teachers, stuff like that.
Okay, and to a certain extent that is true. Whatever is said between us most likely will stay between us, but if it comes to the point where you are, there's a threat for you, or there's harm to another student, or even harm to myself, that's whenever confidentiality might have to go to someone else that needs to know. Okay? Okay, so I have to ask, how have you been since our last session? What's been going on?
I've been okay. So I told my parents about the pregnancy.
Okay.
And that kind of went how I was expecting it to go.
Okay.
In our last session, you kind of reminded me that it was all going to be okay and that the reaction was like valid, and you kind of helped me work through how to say those things. And so that was really helpful because I was able to kind of get the words out.
Okay.
But they were really upset. And there's still a lot of tension in the house.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been kind of hard. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't, I guess, been as bad as I'm sure it could have been.
Okay, and I can tell just by how you're talking right now, your voice overall, you seem like a little bit of a weight has been lifted. So I hope that with kind of moving forward with that, you do feel some sort of release, because I know how nervous you were going into it. Could you tell me a little bit more just of how it went between your parents and what that was like for you?
Yeah, so when I told them, they were really mad. So like when my mom gets mad, she's just silent and just kind of stares at you. And when my dad gets mad, he like immediately starts yelling.
Yes.
And so that was like that for a little while. My dad yelled at me for quite a while. And then when he kind of stopped yelling because I had started crying, they kind of switched roles.
Yeah.
And so then my mom started doing the yelling.
Yeah.
And he was kind of quiet, which is how they've always been. Like they kind of take turns getting mad, which kind of I think is worse than them being mad at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's longer. But like I kind of knew that going into it. I was sent to my room so they could talk about me while I wasn't there. And then when I came down, they were just both kind of really quiet and kind of like, I guess, business-like.
Yeah.
Trying to just like figure out, I guess, like current logistics of like the information that they didn't quite know.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is going through this, it was a lot. Parents, it seemed like were switching off of who was going to be angry, and you kind of had to sit there and take it, or have to go get sent off and come back and then really sit down and discuss with them what's going on. And that's a lot for you to have to handle and deal with during this time. That's not something that a lot of kids your age might have to, so I applaud you to be able to go and do that. That's some really serious stuff. So I'm glad that you were able to get through it. Moving forward with this, do you have any goals now of as far as where you want to go with this? Because I think the bigger thing that we were really trying to tackle last session was that you really wanted to tell your parents. And now we have, and now that's kind of out and open, right? So what goal do you have moving forward with our sessions?
I would really like help and guidance trying to figure out what school is going to look like.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you have a big academic goal that you want. You are only a sophomore, is that correct?
Yeah.
So I understand that we still have some schooling left to go. And what does that look like for you as far as your education moving forward?
So I'll be able to finish this year here,
Okay.
barring any like unforeseen, I guess, like complications or circumstances, but I'm not due until the summer.
Okay.
So I could finish my sophomore year in person
Okay.
if that's an option, like with the school.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as like my junior and my senior year, after like talking with my parents, I need to find some sort of childcare or
Okay.
some sort of situation because they both work.
Okay.
You know, my boyfriend is also still in high school. Both of his parents work, so we don't have anyone
Okay.
that we can like have watch
Okay.
the child. So I don't know if like night school is an option or if there's like online school that I could do. But it would need to be something where it's not during like traditional school hours.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we have this goal of kind of still going forward with school. It sounds like our goal has some sort of kind of point where we want to feel like we've achieved it, which sounds like that you're due for the summer. So to be able to kind of prepare for that next school year, it sounds like we need to have our goal met maybe by the summer or August at least, because that's when junior year starts. So it's something that we have a timeline of when we want to get this kind of planned out and ready for you. And it is something that I think is obtainable because we have about 6 months or so before we get to the point where all of this needs to be planned out. So how do you feel about that? The timeline, the goal, and everything?
I feel good about the timeline. I feel like there's a lot of time to be able to like get the information, but also process it and not have to make like a super like hurried decision. I think that with like hopefully talking with my parents when they're calmer and like with your guidance, I'll be able to make like a good choice that will still allow me to do school but also be a mom.
Okay. So it sounds to me like with the time that we have moving forward, I can definitely tell that you're not as anxious as you were or stressed or anything like that. Not to say that the next 6 months or so isn't going to be stressful, but I could just tell in your demeanor and your voice that you seem a little bit more at ease. I think that the 6 months gives us a chance to sit down and look at different scenarios and plans to kind of help you really meet this goal. Okay? As far as what you're looking to kind of accomplish in school, is there anything with achieving this goal that you feel is the most important as far as, because overall academic goal is kind of broad. What would you say are maybe 2 or 3 of the biggest things that we need to have to meet this goal, to stay in school?
I guess like it working with my schedule.
Okay.
It being something where I still feel like I'm getting a good quality education.
Okay. For you, when you say quality education, what does that look like to you?
You know, after the COVID year where there was just a lot of do this, do that. There wasn't a whole lot of, I guess, like teacher guidance because everyone was in a new scenario.
Yes.
I guess just something where I feel like I'm actually learning the content.
Okay.
And it's going to prepare me to hopefully be able to go to college.
Okay. Okay, good. So I'm hearing it needs to work with your schedule, needs to be a good quality education. Is there anything else that you might think is important to reach this goal as far as being successful in your academic career?
I guess if there's like a program that, how do we put this, that doesn't look like bad to colleges.
Okay.
I would still like to go to college, so I don't want a college to look at my transcripts and be like, ooh, she didn't go to a real school. What does that mean?
Okay, I'm curious what you mean by like a bad program. What do you mean by that?
I know that, you know, like there are different schools, like different high schools and stuff, and we all have different like ratings and all of that. And but like going to a public school, you know, there's like a I guess like a quality or like a standard that they expect that you've been taught at. And then like private schools, I think they expect that you're taught at like a little bit of a higher standard. I just don't want there to be like a negative connotation with going to like online school or like homeschooling, I guess is kind of like, you know, you hear people talk about like kids who don't go to like traditional schools, and it always kind of sounds like a negative. I don't want that to be viewed as negative to like potential colleges.
Okay, so as far as our plan and where we're going from here, it seems like what I'm hearing is you want to be in a program that a college isn't going to look at and be like, well, why were they on this track? Why were they kind of going this route? I think with our goal, as far as us working with your schedule, the quality of education that you're getting, and the program that we find for you, I think that these are all three things that are going to lead us into you being successful in your academic career. So I think this is a really good start to a goal that we can kind of work towards.